The first dark truth about the chosen path is something most people don't understand until much later in life. You were never meant to fit into the world the way others do. From childhood, many chosen individuals feel like observers rather than participants in society's script. While others seem comfortable following trends, traditions, and expectations, you often feel a quiet voice inside whispering that something about it all doesn't feel authentic. It's not arrogance or rebellion, it's awareness. Deep within you, there is a sense that your life is meant for something deeper than simply blending into the crowd. Think about the moments when you tried to fit in. Maybe you changed the way you spoke, the way you dressed, or the dreams you shared with others just so you wouldn't seem different. Yet no matter how hard you tried, there was always a lingering feeling of disconnection. It was like wearing clothes that didn't belong to you. No matter how good they looked on the outside, they never truly felt comfortable. That discomfort was not a flaw. It was a signal that your soul refuses to live a borrowed life. Many chosen ones experience loneliness during this phase because the world often rewards conformity. Schools, workplaces, and even social circles subtly encourage people to think the same, dream the same, and live the same. But when someone carries a deeper awareness, they begin to question things others accept without thought. And when you question the system, people sometimes label you as strange, distant, or misunderstood. The truth is, the moment you stopped fitting in was the moment your real journey began. If you're watching this right now and you've ever felt like the outsider in every room you walk into, know that you're not alone. In fact, many viewers on Mirror of the Soul share the same experience. Drop a comment below and tell me, when was the first moment you realized you didn't quite fit into the world around you? Your story might help someone else who is silently struggling with the same feeling. And if this message resonates with you so far, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Mirror of the Soul, because here we explore the deeper truths that most people never talk about. Sometimes the first step toward understanding your path is simply realizing that others are walking it too. Another reason chosen ones often walk alone is because they see realities that others either ignore or refuse to acknowledge. Awareness is a powerful gift, but it can also feel like a heavy burden. When you start noticing patterns in people's behavior, hidden motives in relationships, or the deeper consequences of society's actions, life begins to look very different from the surface-level world most people accept. Imagine standing in a crowded room where everyone is laughing and celebrating, yet you can sense the unspoken tension between certain people. You notice the forced smiles, the subtle manipulation, the quiet sadness behind someone's eyes. While others are enjoying the moment without thinking twice, your mind begins connecting dots. This deeper perception can make you feel isolated because conversations that satisfy others may feel painfully shallow to you. This heightened awareness often causes chosen ones to distance themselves from environments that feel dishonest or draining. It's not because they dislike people, it's because their energy naturally seeks authenticity. When someone begins to recognize manipulation, gossip, or negative patterns in their surroundings, they instinctively step back. Unfortunately, that step back is often misunderstood by others as arrogance or withdrawal. One of the most painful truths of walking a chosen path is realizing that personal growth sometimes requires leaving certain people behind. This doesn't mean abandoning them with bitterness or resentment. Instead, it means understanding that not everyone is meant to walk every chapter of your journey. Life is like climbing a mountain. At the base, many people may walk beside you because the path is easy and familiar. But as the climb becomes steeper, fewer people are willing to continue. Some will stop because the journey demands too much effort. Others will turn back because the higher you climb, the more uncomfortable the air becomes. And occasionally, you will realize that someone walking with you is actually slowing down your progress. Chosen ones often face the heartbreaking realization that certain relationships were built on convenience rather than true alignment. Friends who once shared laughter with you may become distant when your mindset changes. Family members who once supported you might struggle to understand your new direction. Growth can unintentionally reveal who values the old version of you more than the evolving one. Yet every time you release a connection that no longer aligns with your path, you create space for healthier relationships in the future. The loneliness that follows is temporary, but the wisdom gained from honoring your growth lasts forever. Sometimes walking alone for a season is the only way to discover who you truly are without outside influence. Many people see solitude as loneliness, but for chosen ones, solitude becomes a sacred workshop where the soul is shaped. When the noise of the world fades away, something extraordinary begins to happen. You start hearing your own inner voice clearly for the first time. Without constant distractions, expectations, and opinions from others, you begin discovering what you truly believe and what you truly desire. History is filled with examples of individuals who found clarity during periods of isolation. Writers, philosophers, inventors, and spiritual teachers often describe solitude as the place where their most powerful ideas were born. When you're alone with your thoughts, you're forced to confront your fears, your dreams, and your unresolved emotions. That process can be uncomfortable, but it is also transformative. For chosen ones, solitude becomes the training ground where emotional resilience is built. Instead of relying on constant validation from others, they learn to develop inner strength. They learn how to process pain without immediately seeking distractions. Over time, this creates a level of self-awareness and confidence that cannot be easily shaken by external opinions. One of the quietest yet most painful truths about walking the chosen path is the realization that the environment you once belonged to can no longer hold the person you are becoming. At first, everything feels familiar. Your neighborhood, your circle of friends, even the routines that shape your daily life. But as your awareness grows and your purpose begins to unfold, you start to feel a subtle but persistent tension. It's like trying to pour a growing river into a small container. Eventually, the container can't hold it anymore. Chosen ones often experience this shift gradually. The conversations that once entertained you start to feel empty. The places that once felt exciting now feel draining. Even the goals people around you pursue may start to seem disconnected from what your soul truly desires. This change doesn't happen because you believe you're better than anyone. It happens because your perspective has expanded beyond what your current environment can nurture. Many people misinterpret this phase. They might say you've changed or accuse you of becoming distant. But growth always looks strange to those who remain in the same place. Imagine a tree growing taller than the fence that once surrounded it. The tree hasn't rejected the fence. It has simply grown beyond it. In the same way, chosen ones begin to seek spaces, ideas, and relationships that align with their evolving mindset. The challenge is that leaving a familiar environment can feel terrifying. Humans are naturally wired to seek belonging, and stepping away from what is known can trigger deep emotional resistance. But the truth is that every new level of your journey requires a new environment to support it. If you remain where your growth is constantly suppressed, your potential will slowly fade under the weight of comfort and routine. One of the darkest truths chosen ones must face is the reality of being misunderstood by the very people they once felt closest to. When you begin to change internally, it can create a gap between how others perceive you and who you are actually becoming. This gap can feel incredibly isolating because it often occurs within relationships you once believed were unbreakable. Imagine trying to explain a new vision or belief to someone who only understands the old version of you. They might listen politely, but deep down they cannot see the transformation happening inside your mind and heart. Instead of recognizing your growth, they may interpret it as rebellion, arrogance, or confusion. And slowly, the conversations that once felt natural begin to feel forced and awkward. Chosen ones often carry a deep emotional sensitivity, which means misunderstanding cuts deeper for them than it might for others. They don't seek approval, but they do hope for understanding. Yet the reality is that not everyone has the awareness required to recognize the evolution happening within another person. Some people can only understand you based on the version of you they are comfortable with. As chosen ones begin awakening to deeper spiritual awareness, another truth slowly emerges. Not everyone around them will be ready for the same level of consciousness. This doesn't mean others are inferior or incapable. It simply means that every individual is walking their own timeline of understanding. But when your awareness expands rapidly, the distance between your perspective and others' perspectives can become very noticeable. You may start noticing how many people operate on autopilot, repeating habits, beliefs, and reactions without questioning them. While others may see life as a predictable routine, you begin to sense the deeper layers beneath everyday experiences. You notice patterns, emotional energies, and hidden motivations that most people never stop to examine. This new awareness can make social interactions feel strange. Conversations that revolve around gossip, status, or superficial competition may no longer interest you. Instead, your mind seeks discussions about purpose, growth, meaning, and transformation. When those deeper conversations aren't available in your surroundings, silence sometimes becomes more comforting than forced interaction. At first glance, isolation may appear like a punishment. Many chosen ones spend periods of their life wondering why they seem to walk alone while others are constantly surrounded by friends and support. But over time, a powerful realization emerges. The strength developed during isolation is something crowds could never provide. When you walk alone, you're forced to rely on your own judgment, intuition, and resilience. There is no constant reassurance from others telling you what decision to make or which path to follow. While this may feel overwhelming at first, it slowly builds an inner strength that becomes unshakable. You begin to trust your instincts in ways that people who depend on external approval often cannot. Think about the way diamonds are formed under intense pressure. The very forces that appear destructive are actually shaping something incredibly valuable. In the same way, the quiet seasons of isolation in a chosen one's life are not accidents. They are the conditions required to forge mental clarity and emotional endurance. One of the most confusing experiences for chosen ones is the persistent feeling of being different no matter where they go. It doesn't matter if they enter a new workplace, a new social circle, or even a new city. The same subtle feeling follows them. At first, many people assume this difference is something negative. They wonder if there is something wrong with them, something about their personality that prevents them from fully blending into the environment around them. But over time, a deeper understanding begins to emerge. The feeling of being different is often the result of carrying a perspective that doesn't align with the collective mindset of the majority. Chosen ones tend to think more deeply, feel more intensely, and question things that most people accept without hesitation. This natural depth can create a silent barrier between them and those who prefer to stay within the comfort of familiar beliefs. Imagine walking through a world where many people are focused only on surface-level experiences, status, competition, temporary pleasures, while your mind is constantly searching for meaning, purpose, and truth. That difference doesn't mean you're disconnected from humanity. It simply means your soul is tuned to a different frequency. You're searching for depth in a world that often celebrates distraction. Another dark truth about the chosen path is that purpose often demands emotional sacrifice. When someone begins to follow their deeper calling, they quickly realize that not every relationship, habit, or lifestyle can travel with them into the future. Growth requires space, and sometimes that space is created through painful separation from things that once felt essential. Chosen ones frequently carry a strong sense of empathy and compassion. They care deeply about the people in their lives, which makes the process of letting go even more difficult. They may stay in relationships longer than they should, hoping things will change or hoping they can somehow bring others along on their journey. But eventually, they reach a moment of clarity. Some paths are meant to be walked alone. This emotional sacrifice can feel incredibly heavy at times. Watching people drift away or realizing that certain connections cannot survive your growth can leave deep emotional scars. But these experiences also refine your understanding of what genuine connection truly looks like. You begin to recognize the difference between relationships built on comfort and those built on mutual growth. One of the surprising reasons chosen ones walk alone is because authenticity can make others uncomfortable. In a world where many people hide behind carefully crafted images, someone who speaks honestly and lives authentically can unintentionally expose the masks others wear. And for some individuals, that exposure feels threatening. Think about how society often encourages people to maintain appearances. Many relationships are built around politeness rather than honesty, and many environments reward people who simply follow the script. But when a chosen one enters that environment with genuine authenticity, speaking truthfully, expressing emotions openly, and refusing to participate in deception, it can disrupt the unspoken rules that others rely on. This doesn't mean chosen ones intentionally try to challenge people. In most cases, they simply choose honesty over pretense. Yet their presence alone can create tension because it reminds others of the parts of themselves they've been avoiding. When someone lives authentically, it invites everyone around them to confront their own authenticity. As a result, some people may distance themselves from chosen ones not because they dislike them, but because their presence triggers self-reflection. Authenticity becomes a mirror, and not everyone is ready to look into it. This is one of the hidden reasons chosen ones often find themselves standing alone in rooms full of people. Many chosen ones experience long periods where it feels like life is moving slowly or even standing still. They watch others achieve milestones, careers, recognition, success, while their own path seems filled with obstacles and delays. This can create moments of deep frustration and self-doubt. But what many people don't realize is that delays often serve a hidden purpose. When someone carries a significant role or influence in the future, life sometimes prepares them through experiences that build resilience, wisdom, and emotional depth. The path may appear slower, but it is quietly shaping a stronger foundation. Consider the way nature works. Some of the strongest trees in the world grow slowly, developing deep roots that allow them to withstand storms for centuries. If those trees grew too quickly, their roots wouldn't be strong enough to support their height. In the same way, chosen ones often experience slower progress because their inner foundation is being carefully strengthened. The lessons learned during these waiting periods, patience, discipline, faith, and self-awareness, become essential tools later in life. When opportunities finally appear, chosen ones are prepared to handle them with wisdom rather than impulsiveness. One of the strange realities of walking a chosen path is that people's reactions to you can feel confusing and unpredictable. Some individuals feel inspired by your determination, your authenticity, and your ability to remain strong despite adversity. They admire the courage it takes to live differently from the crowd. But at the same time, others may respond with jealousy, criticism, or quiet resentment, even if you've done nothing to harm them. This happens because chosen ones often carry a kind of quiet confidence that isn't based on status or approval. Their strength comes from inner awareness rather than external validation. And when someone encounters a person who lives with that level of authenticity, it can trigger deep emotions. For those who are secure within themselves, it becomes inspiring. But for those who feel uncertain about their own path, it can create discomfort. Think about it like a bright light in a dark room. Some people will naturally move closer to the light because it helps them see more clearly. Others might shield their eyes or step away because the brightness forces them to confront things they were trying to avoid. Your presence doesn't change. The reactions around you simply reveal where people are on their own journey. Chosen ones eventually learn not to take these reactions personally. Admiration and jealousy are often two sides of the same coin. They both arise from people recognizing something unique within you. The difference lies in how they process that recognition. Another reason chosen ones often walk their path alone is because many of their struggles happen internally, far away from the eyes of the world. While others may see calmness or quiet strength on the surface, they rarely witness the emotional storms that happen behind closed doors. Chosen ones frequently wrestle with self-doubt, deep reflection, and the weight of responsibility that comes with awareness. When you begin to see life differently from those around you, you also begin to carry questions that others might never ask. Questions about purpose, morality, destiny, and the impact your choices might have on the world. These internal battles can feel exhausting. There are nights when the mind refuses to rest because it is processing emotions, analyzing past experiences, or trying to understand what the future might hold. Yet these quiet struggles are also what sharpen the mind and deepen the soul. They force you to confront your fears and transform them into wisdom. The world often celebrates visible victories, awards, success, recognition, but the greatest victories of the chosen path happen in silence. They occur when someone chooses integrity over convenience, growth over comfort, and truth over illusion. These are the battles no one applauds, yet they shape the strongest individuals. One of the most challenging aspects of walking the chosen path is the repeated testing of faith. Whether someone views faith as spiritual belief, trust in destiny, or confidence in their purpose, chosen ones often face situations that push that faith to its limits. There are moments when everything seems to be going wrong at once, plans collapse, relationships fall apart, and opportunities disappear. During those times, it's easy to question whether the path you're following is truly meant for you. The silence that follows can feel overwhelming, as if life itself is waiting to see whether you will continue forward or give up. But these moments of testing often carry a deeper purpose. Faith that has never been challenged remains fragile. It's easy to believe in your purpose when life feels comfortable and predictable. True faith develops only when you continue moving forward even when the outcome is uncertain. Think about the stories of individuals throughout history who achieved extraordinary things. Many of them faced repeated setbacks before their breakthrough moments arrived. Those setbacks weren't signs that their journey was wrong. They were opportunities to strengthen their determination and clarity. Although the path of a chosen one often involves loneliness, it also carries an extraordinary hidden power. Walking alone forces you to develop qualities that are difficult to build when constantly surrounded by external influence. It teaches independence, clarity of thought, and emotional resilience. When you spend time alone, you begin to understand your own mind more clearly. You learn how to make decisions without relying on the opinions of a crowd. Over time, this ability becomes incredibly valuable because it allows you to remain steady even when the world around you becomes chaotic. Many of the most influential thinkers, leaders, and creators in history spent long periods of their lives in solitude. Those moments allowed them to think deeply, question existing ideas, and imagine possibilities others had never considered. Solitude became the environment where their most powerful insights were born. For chosen ones, walking alone is not simply about isolation, it's about preparation. The quiet chapters of your life are often where your strength, vision, and purpose are refined. Later, when you step into environments where others seek guidance or inspiration, the lessons learned during those solitary seasons become your greatest advantage. One of the most comforting truths about walking the chosen path is that, although the journey may begin in loneliness, it rarely ends that way. Many chosen ones spend years feeling like outsiders, wondering if they will ever find people who truly understand their mindset and their purpose. But life has a remarkable way of aligning individuals with others who share similar awareness when the time is right. The reason this connection often takes time is because both sides of the connection must be ready. Just as you are growing and evolving, Others are walking their own paths of transformation. When two people who have developed deep self-awareness finally meet, the connection feels very different from ordinary relationships. There is an immediate sense of understanding that doesn't require long explanations. Instead of competing or pretending, these connections are built on mutual respect and authenticity. Conversations flow naturally because both individuals are interested in meaningful topics rather than superficial distractions. It feels less like meeting someone new and more like recognizing a soul that somehow understands the journey you've been walking. Many viewers of Mirror of the Soul have shared stories about finally meeting someone who understands their perspective after years of feeling alone. These moments remind us that solitude is often temporary. Sometimes life separates us from the wrong people so that we can eventually find the right ones. There comes a powerful moment in the life of a chosen one when they finally stop trying to explain themselves to everyone around them. Early in the journey, many people feel the need to justify their choices, defend their beliefs, or convince others that their path makes sense. They hope that if they explain themselves clearly enough, people will understand. But eventually, something changes inside. After facing repeated misunderstandings and resistance, chosen ones realize that not everyone is meant to understand their journey. And more importantly, they realize that their purpose does not require universal approval. This realization brings a deep sense of freedom. Instead of exhausting themselves trying to gain validation, they begin to focus their energy on living authentically. Their decisions become guided by inner clarity rather than external expectations. And surprisingly, this quiet confidence often earns more respect than constant explanation ever could. When you stop explaining yourself, you also stop shrinking your identity to fit into other people's comfort zones. You accept that some people will misunderstand you, and that's okay. The people who truly resonate with your spirit will understand without needing long explanations. For many chosen ones, the journey can feel confusing for a long time. They sense that their life carries deeper meaning, but they can't always see exactly how that meaning will unfold. This uncertainty can create moments of frustration, especially when it feels like everyone else has a clear direction while you are still searching. But purpose rarely arrives all at once. Instead, it reveals itself gradually through experiences, challenges, and lessons. Every obstacle you overcome adds another piece to the puzzle. Every moment of self-discovery helps refine your understanding of who you are and what you're meant to contribute to the world. Eventually, there comes a moment when everything begins to make sense. The hardships you endured, the loneliness you felt, the lessons you learned, they all start connecting in ways you never expected. What once felt like random struggles suddenly looks like preparation. When chosen ones reach this stage, they often feel a quiet sense of certainty. It's not loud or dramatic. It's simply a deep inner knowing that the path they've walked has been shaping them for something meaningful all along. The final truth about why chosen ones walk their path alone is perhaps the most important of all. The loneliness you experienced was never meant to break you. It was meant to build you. Every quiet night, every moment of doubt, every time you felt misunderstood or disconnected from the world, those experiences were shaping your strength. They were teaching you how to stand firm in your identity, even when others could not see the vision you carried inside. Walking alone forces you to discover your own voice, your own beliefs, and your own purpose without relying on the approval of the crowd. It turns uncertainty into resilience and confusion into wisdom. And when the time comes for you to step into your true role, those lessons become the foundation that supports everything you do. One day, you may look back on the lonely chapters of your life and realize they were actually the moments that shaped you the most. They gave you clarity, courage, and independence that could never have been developed in a life of constant comfort.